Hello everyone and welcome to another Star Rail lore video. Today I'll be going over the lore of the Forge of the Capogni Lantern planar ornament set. This lore tells us about the flame wheel forge of the Xianzhou Zhuming, and with the Xianzhou in the spotlight, I thought it'd be a good time to make this video. Also, this video does contain spoilers for the quests listed on screen now, so if you haven't done those, you have been warned. Anyways, let's move right on and get into the video. Like the other flagships of the Xianzhou Alliance, the Xianzhou Zhuming has sailed the stellar seas for over 8 millennia. Unlike the others though, the Zhuming looks incredibly different compared to its initial appearance. While it initially had the same design as the Luofu, it now resembles a golden lotus floating through space. You see, the Zhuming is well known for its craftsmen and artisans all across the universe. Over the course of 8 millennia, these people have constantly modified the ship, transforming its appearance into what it is now. At the center of the Golden Lotus, there's a spherical cage encasing a blue sun. This place is known as Flamewheel Forge, and it's the crown jewel of the Zhuming. I'll cover it in more detail later on in the video though. As I said, the Zhuming is well known across the cosmos for its artisans. On the Zhuming, artisanship is the supreme school of learning, with its artisanship commission being the best of all the Xianzhou ships. Additionally, each Arbiter-General of the Zhuming also holds the title of the Artisan Commission's Furnace Master. The current Arbiter-General and Furnace Master of the Zhuming is none other than Huaiyan, the Flaming Heart. As Furnace Master, Huaiyan passes on his skills as an artisan. One of his apprentices went by the name of Yingxing, and he would go on to become the Furnace Master of the Xianzhou Luofu. Of course, Yingxing would eventually come to be known as the Stellaron Hunter Blade. Now, since Huaiyan is also the Arbiter-General of the Zhuming, he also trains the new ranks of Cloud Knights. One of the most well-known groups of Cloud Knights from the Zhuming is the legendary Flamewheel Octet, which includes Huaiyan's own adoptive granddaughter, Yunli. Getting back to artisanship though, we know that Xianzhou Artifacts technology is already quite advanced. However, the Zhuming holds the most advanced technology of all. It is said that they are on par with Pierpoint and Planet Screwlum for craft apprentices and production engineering technology. As such, countless Outworlders will travel to the Zhuming from all across the cosmos to study. Due to the high number of workers, the Zhuming produces 60 to 70% of all of the Xianzhou's armory, and they certainly do not lack for arms. General Huaiyan was once willing to allocate a ton of resources to help the Xianzhou Yaoqing's Crane Feather Orbit fleet, but only a dozen or so personnel. The resources included 300 fighter jets, 20,000 Thunder crossbows, and 20,000 Devastator glaives. The Zhuming is also allied with a powerful stellar race known as the Desata. The Desata are said to be natural-born elite artisans, and they are the ones who forge the enormous cannons aboard the ship. They also watch over the pseudo-sun that slumbers at the core of the Flamewheel Forge. Now then, it's time to move on to the history of the Xianzhou Zhuming. As I just mentioned, the Flamewheel Forge is said to encase a blue pseudo-sun. This isn't just a figure of speech though. The object at the center of the Flamewheel Forge is so powerful that it actually affects the physical laws of the universe. So then, how did this object come to rest aboard the Zhuming? Well, to answer that question, we have to go back in time a few thousand years to an event known as the Heliobi Wars. As you might expect, this was a conflict fought between the Xianzhou Alliance and the Heliobi. During this conflict, the Heliobi formed a red microstar in an attempt to capture the Xianzhou fleet. In response, a mysterious hero would lead a squad in disassembling and weaponizing the Zhuming's auxiliary engines. The squad would then send this weapon straight into the microstar, causing it to implode into a black hole. The Flint Emperor, leader of the Heliobi, would then be captured and imprisoned aboard the Xianzhou Zhuming. For their punishment, they would be sentenced to serve as the power source for the Xianzhou Zhuming for the rest of their eternal life. They still remain aboard the Zhuming to this day, as they are the pseudo-sun within the Flamewheel Forge. Of course, the Heliobi Wars weren't the only conflict that the Zhuming has faced. The ship has been sailing for over 8,000 years, so there are bound to be a ton of interesting stories surrounding it. In year 3198 star calendar, the Xianzhou fleet was embroiled in chaos due to course revolts on several ships. The course master would message each ship, which eventually led to an assault on the Xianzhou Zhuming. The rebels would hole up in a delve with an expeditionary force ready to fight against the nobles. However, both sides would soon reach a ceasefire and join forces against a group of Arumatons that had started another rebellion. A peace agreement would quickly be signed by both sides, and they would then come together to end the Arumaton rebellion. Later on, during the era of bloodshed, the Xianzhou Alliance encountered the Dyson tree Moldrasil. Moldrasil was an artificial tree-shaped world that was home to the Wingweavers, a denizens of abundance race. Of course, war would soon break out between the two groups. Due to their lack of manpower from recent conflicts though, the Alliance would release their prisoners from cryohibernation to help counter the invasion. One of these prisoners was the unnamed hero who helped stop the Heliobi. They had been imprisoned for shooting the ambrosial arbor on the Luofu many years earlier. After being released, the hero would descend into the Zhuming's prison to make a deal with the Flint Emperor. The hero would allow the Flint Emperor to possess their physical body in exchange for the power of the Heliobi. The Flint Emperor agreed to the deal, and he would possess the hero. The hero would then walk to the bow of the Yao Qing, where they would shoot their sky-shattering Lux arrow with their famed bow Xuanyuan. The shot was enhanced by the power of the Flint Emperor, and it affected every single ship in the Alliance. It was said that blood rain poured upon the Zhuling, and knights turned crimson on the Fanghu. The shot would also smash into the ambrosial arbor on the Luofu, severing its connection to Moldrasil. Both the hero and the Flint Emperor would disappear after this, though the latter would somehow return to the Flamewheel Forge. As for this mysterious hero, if you didn't guess it, they were actually Lan the Hunt before they ascended as an Eon. It is believed that after this battle, they finally ascended to become the Eon of the Hunt. Anyways, in year 4800 star calendar, the Vidyadhara would make an alliance with the Xianzhou. Their high elders would guard the plague marks of the Xianzhou, with Arden's Regia being in charge of protecting the primordial flame aboard the Zhuming. The Zhuming would also engage in warfare against Lord Ravager Selenova and her troops, though she did request a ceasefire in year 5700 star calendar. Currently, the Xianzhou Zhuming is moored in the Stella Yamasaki star system, located within the Leroy Laudere star cluster. According to a report given in November of year 8098 star calendar, they plan to stay here for a decade. Since it is currently year 8100 star calendar, they are very likely still there. Being a massive flagship, the Xianzhou Zhuming is naturally home to a wide variety of locations. As I mentioned earlier, the Zhuming has its own alchemy commission. The Flamewheel Forge acts as the foundation of the alchemy commission, and it is also known as the most important location for the Zhuming's manufacturing industry. Within the Flamewheel Forge, there is also a special weapons casting mold that is as old as the ship itself. This mold was gifted to Grand Artisan Yang Di by an unknown emperor of the Primeval Imperium, in honor of the ship's maiden voyage. Additionally, the forge also houses another ancient relic, that being the Flint Emperor. The Flint Emperor, also called the Primordial Flame or the Pseudo-Sun, currently rests within the center of the Flamewheel Forge. They act as an inexhaustible power source, allowing the craftsmen of the Zhuming to forge a wide variety of divine weapons. However, most people aren't allowed to go near the ancient being. You see, the Flint Emperor is so powerful that it creates a hypergravity field, which causes the area around it to be too dense for most people. The fundamental physical laws of the universe have been augmented to a terrifying degree in this space, and only the Desata are able to survive this strange area. Beyond the Flamewheel Forge, the ship is also home to a place known as Firmament Temple. This temple was actually originally built by the IPC on the Zhuming during a period known as the Crisis of Belief. During this time, Qliphoth was the pillar of the Xianzhou Alliance's beliefs, and this period lasted between year 3400 and year 4000 star calendar. These days, the temple is an affiliated academy of the Zhuming Artisanship Commission. The next area on the ship is Radiant Zenith, a vast starskiff platform. This port is said to be chiseled out of a single block of moonstone, and it's so big that it disappears over the horizon with a soothing honey yellow color. It is described as a proud and blatant display of craftsmanship, and it's the first thing Outworlders see when they reach the Zhuming. Finally, the Zhuming is also home to Dragon Palace's kitchen. This place is the only restaurant rated 5 stars by the Interastral Gourmet Association among all of the Xianzhou ships, so the food here must be delicious. Now, I could definitely see us traveling to the Zhuming at some point in the future. We are already on good terms with the Luofu, and our role in the new Trailblaze Continuance will likely increase our reputation with the Alliance as a whole. The Arbiter-Generals of both the Zhuming and the Yaoqing, Huaiyan and Fei Xiao, will also personally see what we can do. After the next part of the new Xianzhou story, we could be invited to visit both the Zhuming and the Yaoqing at some point in the future, as a sign of appreciation from the two Arbiter-Generals. It might be a while before we visit this flagships, probably after Amphorius, but the invitations would be there. Currently, the #1 enemy of the Xianzhou seems to be Lord Ravager Phantilia. She was the mastermind behind the Ambrosial Arbor's resurrection, and she is also behind the return of the Borison. As suggested in the new Trailblaze Continuance, this is likely just the beginning of her plots. Now, Phantilia is a Heliobus, and I think that could connect her to the Zhuming. The Flint Emperor was the leader of the Heliobi, so she may want to free them and get their help to cause more chaos. After all, Phantilia does seem to be targeting the plague marks of the Xianzhou. Her first plan involved the Ambrosial Arbor, which is the Luofu's plague mark. The Lunar Embryo, plague mark of the Yaoqing, may be part of her current plan, as I believe it could be connected to the Borison and their moon rage state. The Flint Emperor is the plague mark of the Zhuming, so that could be her next target. Since the new Trailblaze Continuances are focusing on the Borison and their ties to the Yaoqing, the Zhuming could be put into the spotlight next. We could get a new plot revolving around Phantilia and the Flint Emperor that would take us to the Zhuming after our time in Amphorius. I know that traveling to another Xianzhou ship isn't appealing to everyone, but the Zhuming is arguably the best option of all the Xianzhou flagships. It is the most unique of the Xianzhou ships, so our experience there would be completely different from our experience on the Luofu. The landmarks and locations would all have different styles, including a much grander artisanship commission. While the enemies might be similar to the ones on the Luofu, they would still be unique. As I said earlier, the Zhuming is the most advanced of the Xianzhou ships, so the Arumatons we see here could be way more advanced than the ones on the Luofu. We could also get some Heliobi-related enemies, as the Heliobi are quite common on the Zhuming. For a weekly boss, we could get to fight the Flint Emperor themselves. Also, a visit to another Xianzhou ship could finally allow the Trailblazer to gain the path of the hunt. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the lore of the Xianzhou Zhuming. The lore of this flagship is already quite extensive, so I really hope we will get to travel here someday. If you want more lore about Star Rail though, I recommend my videos on Sigonia 4, the 10 Stonehearts, the Lhasa, and the Xianzhou flagships. With that said, I would love to hear what other bits of lore you'd like me to cover in the comments below as well. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Sources and further readings are also in the description if you want to check them out. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you all in the next video.